morning, friends and enemies, and welcome into the Week 11 Q and Assault live stream, where I'm answering as many questions as you have for your sit-start lineups in fantasy football for the week. All right, we had taken a week off because I was in Berlin for the Falcons Indy game last week, but we are back full strength. How we doing? Welcome in. If you are new here, you're watching this after the fact. If you want to be in these live streams, ramping up for the fantasy playoffs, you could do so by signing up to be a Big Dog member at BDGE.co. One place to get it. You can also sign up on our partner website, MGM, or the MGM website, app, don't matter. When you deposit $10 or more, if you're a first timer, and you play any slip on there, they are going to send you a promo code to use on our website, bdge.co, for 3 months free of the Big Dog membership. That'll get you access to the stream. That will get you access to our weekly rankings, our waiver wire rankings, all that good stuff. All right. Any questions? Where are we at, chat? I will stand by you forever. Here we go. Nerd with the sideburns, my goat. I come to you today with my half PPR 12-team league with JT on bye. You hate to see it. Who do I start, Bam Knight or Tony P? Then for flex, choose one. Addison, Jake Fergie, Sutton, want to trade him, or Trey Tucker. So half PPR, we got Bam Knight, who's been back at practice, I believe, in a limited fashion. And then you've got Tony Pollard against the Texans, of course. And it's not a great matchup for him. But it's been a little tough trying to figure out. It's the first player you put in gives me that weird unknown error here. Wow, they are back to back in my rankings. So I have Pollard at RB 37, Zonovan Knight at RB 38 here. Again, there's no guarantee that he plays yet, but if he does, he'll be splitting time with Amari DiMercato. Pollard will obviously be splitting time with Tajay Spears. His line right now, I mean, both of them we don't have for Bam Knight yet, but for Tony Pollard, 40.5 rushing yards, 10.5 receiving yards. Anytime touchdowns, not great. They are underdogs against Houston, obviously, which does lend itself a little bit more towards game scripting to Tajay Spears. But I do think you're getting 10 touches. On the flip side, I don't really know what to make of the backfield here. Like if Bam Knight is limited, maybe they activate Michael Carter to get some touches. Amari DiMercato did play well last week, so maybe he ends up being the lead back there. Maybe we've been getting a lot of these random like Sunday morning reports about the Arizona backfield. So as it stands, I would go Pollard over Bam Knight. But if we do get a random report on Sunday that's like, yeah, Zonovan Knight is ready to go, he'll be the starter there, then I'd probably flip the script there and put Bam Knight over Tony Pollard. But I will be updating my rankings always in real time before games kick off and everything like that. So just I would check back my rankings right before the games kick off for my final decision on that. But for right now, it's close, and I got Pollard right above. And then you asked Addison. I'm pretty in on Addison. Maybe that's a mistake this week, but Addison, I really like the matchup. Ferguson's a good play as well. There you go. They're really close. We got Sutton. And you're hitting me with like the fucking pure coin flip question. So I have Sutton as my 50th overall player, Ferguson 51st, Addison 53rd here. So Sutton's obviously got the tough matchup against KC. His line's at 49.5. So him and Addison actually have identical lines pretty much. And Addison actually has a higher anytime touchdown total here. 49.5, 3.5 receptions. KC's defense has been really, really good, of course. Troy Franklin's getting more and more involved. I do kind of like, though, the fact that with Dobbins out, I don't know how heavily they're going to lean on the run game. Like, Harvey will get a bunch of boosted touches, of course, but I don't know how much success they're going to have on the ground. And I do think Bo Nix is probably going to have to throw the ball quite a bit, which could lead to some more volume for Sutton. Ferguson, yeah, for the most part, like obviously really good matchup, and the totals for this game are always going to be high with Dallas and Vegas's defense. So I think he's a good play too. But I tend to lean more towards receivers in these types of questions, especially with CD back. We've seen Jake Ferguson to kind of take a back seat between him and George Pickens. And then Addison, yeah, I mean, you just have the shakiness of that offense, of course. Chicago might be getting back Jalen Johnson this week, which would be a major fucking upgrade. I don't think we've heard any announcement on that yet, but he's obviously their all-pro cornerback here. Yeah, I mean we don't have word on that, unfortunately. Yeah, he's just questionable for the game, unfortunately. So we don't know if he's going to play this week. If he does, that's going to be tough for any of the receivers in Minnesota to really pry off of him there. Good matchup. I get it. I get it if you want to go Addison. Like, listen, when we're making decisions between guys that are my wide receiver 26, 27, and 28, it's not like I have a very strong feeling about them. So if you have a gut feeling about Addison over Sutton, I have no problem with you going that way. You know what I mean? Like if Sutton was ranked maybe my 32nd overall player and Addison my 53rd, then I would probably have a strong push to move you in that direction. But right now, game script could be in favor of Minnesota and Chicago against Chicago secondary. So yeah, I mean, if you feel like Addison there, I have no problem with you making that move. What up, Big Al? Greetings, greetings. How you doing, Influence? Half PPR, one wide receiver, two flex. We have Shakir, Jennings, Dobbs, and Woody. That's a good little group of flexes you have here. I think they're all probably going to be very, very close. Shakir, Jawan, Stain, Dobbs, and Woody. So, unsurprisingly, we do have Woody as the top ranked player here. They're all pretty close, though. As you can see, Woody's 54th overall. Dobbs is the last rated one, but he's down at 64th overall. So, not too far away. Woody's got really good marks here. He's got a great matchup. No pun intended there. Great matchup against Tennessee, as you could see. Fifth most fantasy points to the running back. EPA per rush is fifth. So really, really friendly matchup. We saw him get a really high snap count raised last week and like really took over the backfield. It does seem like Houston's kind of going in their like rookie youth direction right now with what they did with their wide receivers last week too. So Woody would be my one here. Then the other receivers are all really close, like wide receiver 29, 31, 35. Shakir, again, I just kind of like him being attached to Josh Allen. Like I just like the upside that we can have with the Bills on any given basis. That being said, Jawan Jennings I think is a really good start. Arizona is without Will Johnson, their top cornerback. On Sunday, they get Brock Purdy back, but they also do get Ricky Pearsall back, which does add some target competition. Dobbs is a strong start there, too. Green Bay against the Giants. It's a great matchup. Paulson and Debo questionable for this one, so they might be without their top cornerback as well. So I think they're all pretty good starts here. And one thing that you might want to consider here, the rankings I have up here are full PPR, so I have a slight lean towards Khalil Shakir with his reception totals, though Jawan Jennings has the lean in Vegas, and I think just by using your fucking eyeballs in the touchdown department, and you are playing half PPR, which does lend itself to a little bit more juice for touchdown scorers over just reception guys. So, between Shakir and Jawan Jennings, I think they're both good starts. I could see myself going Jawan in a half PPR, though. Okay, long one, but lots of things changing with the team. All right, let me get to Niner real quick, and then I'll get back to your sling of questions there. Alex Niner asks, if you had to drop one player full PPR, Romeo Dobbs or Ricky Pearsall, we have a small bench in this league. Man, it would for me, I guess it would depend on. I'm assuming these guys are going to be like flexes at best, but more likely depth. Because I don't want to drop Romeo Dobbs. He's been the wide receiver one in Green Bay, but he doesn't really have a ceiling. Like what you're getting. You're usually getting somewhere between like 9 and 12 or 13 points, which is a really nice floor to have. But Ricky P obviously comes with the upside. Like he could be the one in San Fran for the next 6 or 7 weeks, which would have some explosion games attached to it. So if they're both bench guys, it's probably Ricky P for me. But there's more risk of Ricky P, like re-injuring it, him not taking over as the number one, just straight up. Like you never really know with it. So yeah, I'd probably rather hold on to Ricky P. All right, Alex said, I got to start 3 of these dudes. Aaron Jones, RJ Harvey, Tet, DK, Judkins. That wasn't even a long one. You just meant a lot of players. Aaron Jones, we got Harvey, we got Tet, Metcalf, and Judkins. Okay, so Judkins for me is kind of like an every week must start. So he's going to be my one there. I have Tet as the number 2, and I have Aaron Jones as the number 3 there, which I think I just agree with these rankings straight up. Like Tet, obviously, he's a high floor play. His Vegas prop is up at 56.5, so I feel pretty good about that. I do think they're going to have to throw the ball against Atlanta. Atlanta has a good pass defense, but Tet sees a 28% target share. I'm in on Tet. And Aaron Jones has been awesome, and he gets a great matchup against Chicago. So don't want to overthink it. Metcalf has a good matchup on paper, but he will see a ton of DJ Turner. So not a phenomenal matchup. And obviously, you've seen him have very low floor games. Harvey, I'm excited to see the big touch boost here, but I do think he'll have a little bit of trouble finding success on the ground against Kansas City, who has a really good run defense. And I'm curious to see what they do in that backfield. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Jaleel McLaughlin just gets more carries than anyone can bear with their fucking eyes. So I'd go with those 3. Gonzo, good morning, Unk. What's up, Stain? Good luck this week. Thank you. That was very, very nice of you. No one's ever nice to me on here. Full PPR, RB2, Derrick Henry, Vidal, Woody, and flex AJ Brown, and remaining 2 from RB2 consideration. All right, so you have some good options here. Good on paper, at least. I feel pretty good about Vidal, and I probably have Henry ranked pretty highly as well. Woody's not going to be too far behind, but I do think I have him underneath. Yep, slightly below. Yeah, so I have Vidal at 33, RB15. Derrick Henry, 37th overall, RB17. Obviously has a really tough matchup against Cleveland. Cleveland shut him down last time they played. Kamani Vidal has been kind of up and down, but more often than not, he's having really spike week games. And he has a very high ceiling, as you can see. Like on a week-to-week basis, putting up 20 points a game in those good matchups, I like. Woody Marks, I like too. And I probably have him, I might have him ranked above A.J. Brown straight up. So I think you're asking me, and flex A.J. Brown and remaining 2 from RB2 consideration. I guess I'm kind of confused by that, how you ended that question there. You're saying to start, are you, I think you're asking me if you should start one of those running backs, whoever I leave out. Oh, you only need one running back from these. Gotcha. I am it's full on Uncle Stains right now. My brain working like an unk. Okay, so you need one running back here. I have Vidal based on, I think, better matchup, based on what we've seen recently from him versus Derrick Henry. Although it feels shitty to sit Derrick Henry, obviously. And then you're asking, should I flex one of the 2 over an A.J. Brown? And yeah, I have Derrick Henry ranked higher, but not much. So if you have an inkling of like, I like A.J. Brown, I like the game environment against Philly a little bit more. The game total's 8 points higher. Detroit plays a good amount of man coverage, which could lean itself towards A.J. Brown. I get it. But for me, I'm probably rolling with the 2 running backs here up top. Full PPR. Concerned about Sutton's production this week. Is it 2Q playing Ricky P or Tez over Sutton? It feels a little ambitious for show, but I honestly don't think I have them ranked that much lower. And I mean, they're both good players. Like Ricky P is 32, Tez is 34, Sutton's wide receiver 26. So that being said, like Sutton's higher, but being wide receiver 26 is not a must start. It's obviously, again, a tough matchup. Ricky P, I have to think they've waited all this time to make sure that he was fully ready to go when he comes back, but I do think there's real target competition there. So we haven't really seen Ricky P, at least this year. Like in the game that he blew up, it was without Juwan Jennings playing. So it's like, yeah, we remember that high ceiling. It was without George Kittle playing too. So we remember the high ceiling, but it was like he was the only receiver there. So I'm not expecting a high ceiling game. I do expect a good game. So Ricky P is good. Tez has obviously been a fucking revolution out there in Tampa Bay. Love having Baker send it to him. You could see the props here. Vegas has Tez at 32.5 receiving yards. That's actually crazy. And you know what that's for? I didn't bring it up yet, but there are some weather concerns in Buffalo and Tampa Bay. Let me bring up the weather for y'all. So here are some of the weather concerns for this upcoming weekend. So I'll throw it on the screen for you guys so you can have a better look. I would say for the most part, don't be too concerned about green or yellow or some combination of both. And even the yellow-orange are not like overly concerning. Baltimore, Cleveland, though, we do have some weather going on there. Winds are coming off of the lake with some bite. Sustained winds could come in at 25 miles per hour with wind gusts in the 35 mile per hour range. This will be impactful on throws and kicks, which again leans itself towards Judkins, Derrick Henry type of game. Tampa Bay, and Buffalo, as you can see, orange, yellow. Winds should be close to 20 miles per hour sustained, gusts around 35 miles per hour. There's still a chance of some rain or snow showers, but I'm not too impressed with what high-res models are showing on radar, and I expect we're mostly dry. So, keep that in consideration as well. Cincinnati and Pittsburgh, Green Bay and New York are both yellow-orange. You guys can take a sec to kind of read what's on the screen there. Maybe I don't know if it's big enough for you guys to see on stream. I'm looking at my monitor. Green Bay and New York, winds keep ticking up here. And latest model guidance puts sustained winds between 15 and 20 with gusts somewhere between 30 and 40. That's impactful weather for deep throws and kicks. Cincy and Pittsburgh, sustained winds 15, 20, gusts likely 30, 35. So nothing crazy. There doesn't seem to be a lot of wetness going on here. Pause for most of these games. So it's not overly concerning. And there's not a ton of deep balls that typically connect, but it might impact a dude like Tez who gets some deep balls. It might impact a dude like Green Bay, New York. I mean, honestly, maybe a Christian Watson, but I wouldn't be too overly concerned about those other guys there. But yeah, that's why, as you can see, Tez's line is at 32.5. Emeka Egbuka's line opened up at 63.5, and now it's down to, I think, 56.5. So that was, whenever I see a major drop like that, I assume that there's something going on with the weather, so I go and check that right away. But yeah, just in case you guys wanted to see that for yourself. So yeah, ultimate answer to this question is I have Sutton ranked higher, but I don't think it's getting too cute because once you get, again, you're outside of the top 25 receivers, none of these guys are must starts. Okay, I raised this new question. On waivers, there are players like Ricky P, Parker Walsh, Chris Rod, Tez, Christian Watson. Do any of those tickle your fancy more than Pollard, Knight, and my flex question? Yeah, for sure. There's a few of these guys I would play over Tony Pollard or Knight for sure. I want to say, let me put them in real quick. Yeah, Pollard's at 104. Ricky P is going to be much higher. Parker Walsh, I think, is a really good play if Brian Thomas Jr. is out. This ranking is with Brian Thomas Jr. expected to play. He's been limited all week, but they haven't ruled him in or out yet. He's questionable. This will move up significantly if Brian Thomas Jr. is out. I definitely have Tez ranked higher as well. So you can take a look at these rankings here. But yeah, I'm glad you threw this in there because I like all these guys pretty significantly higher than Tony Pollard and or Zonovan Knight. So you take a look here. And again, yeah, if Brian Thomas Jr. is ruled out, then I expect a high target share for Parker Washington and would jump him above these guys. Full PPR, pick one, Hunt or Monangai. I have Hunt ranked higher. It's not a good matchup, obviously, but Hunt's always scoring touchdowns. His line's pretty significantly higher than Monangai. And Swift came back last week and immediately presumed that RB1 role. And it wasn't 50-50. It wasn't really drive by drive. It was kind of Swift dominating a lot of the script there. I think it was 70-30 in terms of split, which was the biggest gap we've seen in that backfield, despite Monangai coming off that 200-yard game. So for me, it's Swift here. There's just Kareem Hunt has a higher floor. Or sorry, it's Hunt here. Kareem Hunt has a higher floor, higher touchdown likelihood, and I also just don't really see a huge ceiling for Kyle Monangai with Swift active. We saw the big game with Kyle Monangai, but that was without Swift. And then the game before that, when he had 80 yards, that was against, I think, Cincinnati. So not the same matchup. Niner. Full PPR, start two. Sean Tucker, Blake Corum, or Ja'Cory Krosky-Moret. That's gross. I want to say Blake is almost definitely the number one here. Why is he not in here? Sean Tucker. Yeah, I don't love any of these at all. But if I had to choose two, it'd be Blake and Sean Tucker. Blake has now seen 12 plus carries in 3 straight games, and he is actually splitting backfield work down the middle, drives down the middle with Kyron Williams. They are just rotating drives. So I think there's a chance for Blake Corum to score a touchdown or just have a decently good game. Sean Tucker and Rachaad White, that gap's definitely been closed as well over the last few weeks, and pretty good matchup against Buffalo. So JCM, the problem with JCM, if Chris Rodriguez were to have been ruled out, I would like him a lot more, but he was kind of being phased out of that offense last time they played. Chris Rodriguez got the majority of snaps in the first half before he left with a shoulder injury, scored the touchdown, but it was mostly Chris Rodriguez, and I would prefer Rodriguez to JCM this week too. So I go Corum and Sean Tucker there. Sorry for no, it was not your fault whatsoever. I'm just a fucking moron. What else is new though? Okay. Mark Andrews, Theo Johnson, or Ertz, full PPR. Okay. What's up, Marcy? How we doing? I think I have Ertz ranked highest, and then I kind of fuck with Theo Johnson. I want to say Andrews is definitely my lowest ranked one. Matchup is shitty, and he's just so touchdown dependent. Yep, Vegas kind of agrees with me here. Ertz has the matchup against Miami. They've allowed so many fantasy points to the tight end position. Vegas has him at 46.5 receiving yards, 4.5 receptions. Theo right below him at 42.5. I do sneaky like Theo, though. He's not very far behind. I think Theo to Zach Ertz is actually closer than Theo to Mark Andrews for me. Matchup is obviously not great against Green Bay, but as you can see, they're actually not that great against fantasy tight ends. And with Darius Slayton out, I can't imagine that the ball gets thrown anywhere besides Wandell and Theo Johnson. So I like Zach Ertz more just from like a floor perspective and consistency. But if you do need some ceiling, I would not be opposed to throwing Theo Johnson into your lineup, though, because without Darius Slayton, again, he should see a pretty hefty target share. Rashad White, Monungai, or Hunt? Yeah, Rashad White's going to jump both of those guys for me. So we just answered the Hunt or Monungai question pretty in depth, but let me just throw him up here. Yeah, he's my RB 24, and I think Hunt's 26 or 27, so he would jump him there by a little bit. Full PPR 12 team. Choose 2 running backs: Woody Marks, Rashad White, Sean Tucker on waivers, JCM, C-Rod on waivers, Tracy, Harvey. Those you don't choose into one flex consideration with Ferg and Tucker. I mean, I like your group of running backs. I would go with the first 2 and then Harvey. I like Woody Marks a lot with the matchup. I like Rashad. I don't love Rashad White, but I like him. Should still see a decent amount of targets and just work overall. And then Harvey's going to be ranked pretty highly as well, just because J.K. Dobbins is obviously out. So it's going to be Woody, RJ, and Rashad White. And then I think I have Ferg probably ranked above Rashad White as a flex play because the matchup is just so juicy. Yeah. So that's how I would run. Woody, RJ, and then Fergie. Sorry, came in late, was being stupid about. No. The link's always on the website, as always. Sometimes I just one of the things I try to do a little bit less now is like I'll put the link live on the site probably like 5 or so minutes before I go live. And I used to throw the link into the Discord like an hour, a couple hours before. Problem is people will go in and then drop their, like 2 hours before they'll go into the YouTube video, drop their questions, and then like not be there for the live stream. And when I'd enter, like I'd go right into the YouTube, started at 1 p.m. or whatever, and I'd already have like 40 questions queued up. And I'm like, it's shitty because then I don't get to the questions of people that are actually in the chat. So I stopped doing that and I started putting the link onto the website about 5 minutes before we go live so people that are actually here can ask me the questions. But yeah, I mean, that's why I stay in here for like 30 minutes or so anyways, just so whenever you want to jump in, you can. Nerd throws in one more real quick. Sitting White against Buff hurts. Sitting White, Rashad White against Buff hurts. Yeah, for sure. I get it. But, I mean, Rashad White just sucks on the ground, man. He's just bad on the ground. And Dallas is just going to throw the ball 45 times. Drake London doesn't play. J-Mo or Rashad White? Is Drake London even borderline questionable here, Mars? Oh, he is, was randomly. Why is this just hopping on my fucking feed? Okay, back illness. He got back to limited practice. So I expect Drake London to play. If not, for some reason, I would go J-Mo there. I love his new role with Dan Campbell calling the plays. Full PPR, J-Mo or T. I have T ranked higher. Love the matchup. He's been awesome with Flacco. Do you have any target running backs to trade for given the strength of the season during the playoff run? Not off the top of my head, but I would say Saquon. I mean, he's obviously like a prized possession, but his playoff schedule or his schedule going forward is awesome after this week, after Detroit. So if he has another bad game, then it's wheels up, and he's kind of like a buy low player right now because I don't think a lot of people like him. So Saquon's the first one that comes to mind. All right. Well, it seems like the questions are slowing down here as they always do towards the end of the year. Less people care about their leagues, less people care about Uncle Steen over here. So I'll leave you with that. Good luck in your Week 11 matchups going forward because there are no more international games. These will be Sundays, I believe. Sometimes they start throwing Saturday games in the schedule. But for the time being, I think they're going to be 11 a.m. Eastern time on Sundays. And again, if you want to hop in here going forward, you could do so by signing up to be a Big Dog member, bdge.co. Cheapest way, 3 months free, is by going to our partner website or app, MGM, depositing $10 or more with code BDGE when you do so, playing any slip on there for the first time, and they will hit you with a promo code in-app that you can use on our website for 3 months free, the Big Dog membership. Thank you for hanging out today. Love you. Good luck in Week 11. Smoochies. Mwah.